Hello, everyone, and good afternoon. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Um, right now, the weather is nice here. Part of the reason I chose to live in the Bay Area is because we'll go through bouts of not heat. It's not like I have family that live in Lodi, and it's like 103 there. And then it was like 78 the other day here, and I was like, I'm dying. It's too much. But today the weather was fantastic. It was cloudy and windy, and the sun would shine through here and there, but a perfect day for going outside and enjoying a day for me. Some people really like the hot, some people like the really cold. I like the Bay Area mix and match of whatever you're going to get is what you get. And yeah, I like the unpredictable weather. So, going with that, as my classes sometimes are kind of unpredictable because I have different people ask for different things. This class is more something light, like a snack of a class. Because, we've been covering like recession and political issues and, which I guess recession kind of is. And then also COVID, So today for change, let's do a nice lighter class, which should be fun. And, just go over something that we can all get involved in. Now, it's kind of tough right now when it comes to this, so it's going to be a brief history class of something. I'll tell you in just a moment. But gardening, okay, so it's a brief history class of gardening. See, told you, just in a moment. But gardening is a little more difficult when it's really hot. Because what happens to the soil is it dries up. And say you want to weed or anything like that, you're just going to get like the tops of the weeds. You're not going to get any of the roots, or the roots, as some people like to say. So instead, we're going to go over a brief history of container gardening, though. Like putting things in big containers and then watering them, like this or like this. It's in a container, see? It's contained. And where that history kind of came from. And why people started doing it and how it was successful. So gardening dates all the way back to the first time that humans decided to plant seeds deliberately. So before you just kind of have crops of stuff, I'm sure, and be like, well, I'm just going to take that and use it here. But once people kind of got the idea that, hey, so where plants grow from are from seeds from plants, and they get scattered by the wind, and that actually makes them grow. So I could take some of these seeds, and I could go plant them somewhere myself, where I want them to be. And I can pick and choose. So over 23,000 years ago, our early ancestors began planting and growing their own food, giving up their nomadic lifestyle, which just means to wander around from place to place. These humans laid down roots, signifying the beginning of civilization. So gardening, as it were, is one of the things that sparked the beginning of civilizations. People actually settling down in a place and not wandering from place to place. And growing their own crops, their own food. And then eventually bigger and bigger societies create what we have now, to where we have stores where people have big plots of land and then they sell them to stores, and then the stores sell them to us, and then we consume them, and then we go do our jobs and pay our taxes, and and it's a big cycle. So as important as this was to human history, modern gardeners are more interested in the later years when humans began dabbling with garden design. This is where history starts to look more like what we do in our own backyards today. With the first cities came a new leisured class, and gardening for pleasure instead of for food and fiber became an option. So instead of saying, hey, I need clothes, so I'm not running around just in my skivvies, or it's cold and I need to make a coat, I mean, many things. So instead of just that or food, which is what we need, then saying, hey, I have clothes now. I have plenty of food. Kind of want nice things around me. I want nice dangling plants. So we developed an eye for aesthetics, which is just the way things look, and started making design choices to make our gardens more beautiful. But I like beautimous. A friend of mine used to say that. So ancient gardening. This is where the history begins. 23,000 years ago, in the first large kingdoms we know. Sorry, I won't talk in that voice. The first large kingdoms we know of were in the deserts of Persia, Egypt, and Babylon. Modern day Iran, Egypt, and Iraq. And it goes back as far as really the first civilizations were Mesopotamia and Harappa. The first marked places that were the first places that were built and collapsed, unfortunately. And they spent their immense wealth towards developing impressive structures and irrigation systems, which the irrigation systems is why Rome collapsed. Just a little side note. If you ever want to know how that happened, go ahead and pull me aside and ask. We can confidently say their gardens were incredible and would probably still be impressive today, even with our standards and technology. Like the ancient Babylon, there's 7 wonders of the world. Actually, I'll do a class on that at some point, what the 7 wonders of the world are. And one of them is on a garden. And it's supposed to be the most impressive garden. So I have a plan. Writing it down right now. Because, we still have amazing things that didn't ever make that list, but these were places that were just phenomenal. So, these ancient gardens were often filled with exotic tropical plants that were carefully tended to thrive in the dry desert conditions. That's impressive. These gardens became a place to relax and escape the harsh conditions. They loved the contrast between the hot outdoor sand and the lush tropical vibe of the gardens, and especially the oxygen and the air and everything that plants provide. They take a lot of water, especially if it's there. But what they provide is just a kind of a cooler atmosphere as well, and shade. So, so many good things. Of the ancient gardens, let's see, that's right here. But I'm still going over the other 7 wonders of the world. Of the ancient gardens, the fabled Hanging Gardens of Babylon are the most famous. One of 7 wonders of the world. Legend has it that King Nebuchadnezzar built the Hanging Gardens to cheer up his homesick bride, Amethyst. She had come to Babylon to be married in a political arrangement. The dry desert of the Mesopotamian plateau, near modern-day Baghdad, made her miss the green mountains of her homeland. The gardens built her to give her a little piece of paradise. The garden boasted a wide variety of tropical species supported by an elaborate irrigation system and a lot of labor. I bet. But man, if you could have seen it. Or I could have seen it. Anybody. Would have been amazing. Things have changed a lot since then, but we still appreciate the luxury of beautiful blooms that we nurture to defiantly overcome our harsh conditions. Because we do plant a lot of non-native plants in areas where they shouldn't be, they're not supposed to be. It's actually kind of invasive, but kind of figured out which ones don't spread as fast. But you'll get a lot of grasses and different things that just will take over things. And it's because people are like, I want that in my yard. Well, now it's in everybody's yard. But people do come up with fantastic landscaping, beautiful, beautiful things when it comes to potted gardening. So classic gardening. After the fall of the Roman Empire, because of irrigation, the impressive gardens of ancient history took a step backward for a few centuries. As Rome's famous decadent gardens faded, the focus of gardening shifted back to utilitarianism. So, for y'all and me, farming became a staple once again, and gardens of the Middle Ages were mostly tended by monks growing herbs and flowers within their monasteries. During the Renaissance, science and culture experienced a revitalization, and with it returned luxury gardening. With growing middle and wealthy classes, people began to keep gardens in their homes again. It wasn't until the 17th and 18th centuries, however, that the art of garden design took center stage. And Europe became home to some astonishingly decadent gardens. Some of these were even lavish enough to inspire outrage and revolution. Wow. All over a garden. Well, if you have nothing else to complain about, may as well complain about other people's gardens, right? Like I was with the invasive species. Closer to home, most gardening in America was mostly about sustenance until halfway through the 20th century. After World War II, the explosion of suburban development encouraged a focus on decorative flowers instead of food. After decades with little advancement in plants or flower bed design, big companies began breeding and introducing more high-performance annuals, like at Annie's Annuals. Nice plug for for Annie's Annuals. In the 90s, container gardens started to look much more like what we are most familiar with now. With so many varieties of annuals available, people began to get more and more creative. Choices were abundant, and people began customizing container designs to fit exactly what they want. So today, the interest in container gardening continues to rise. With so many plants designed to thrive and are often harsh conditions, the sky's the limit for container garden design. At Kaw Valley, it's easier than ever to create a little oasis in your own yard, making the luxury of the first exotic garden escapes possible right at home. So get started on your own container gardening adventure. You should. With the help of anyone that you can go to. Annie's Annuals. There's places in Berkeley for sure. I can't remember the name of it. But I've been to a bunch of different nurseries. You can find them and find pretty much anything you're looking for in the Bay Area within 20 to 30 minutes from anywhere around here. So if you ever need anything, seriously, ask me, and I will. I don't remember the names right now, but I know where I went, and I'll be able to locate them for you. So I have an idea for one class, so please, with this, let me know if there's any other classes you would like to know more about, or things that you would like to know more about. I will do the 7 Wonders of the World class. And yeah, like I said, any comments, suggestions, with gardening or irrigation systems, please let me know. I know quite a bit about irrigation. Like quite a bit of the history of irrigation and how even in the West, and getting off topic, today was just a little bite of something precious, which is container gardening. Okay, bye you all. I'll see you next time.